Hey, my name is Lane Brock, and today I'm going to be discussing the different educational approaches to dealing with deaf students. In the deaf community, it's very important for the parent of the deaf child to make a decision very early on in the child's life because you want to be able to start that development very early on. It's a very hard decision, and there are two main normal ways for parents to take the route for education for their child, and one of them is known as manualism, which is the use of solely sign language, or oralism, which is the use of solely spoken language. Neither of these options really think about or encourage the student's potential desires later in life and how they're going to affect the child's future. Um, so, because of that, there has been a new method of teaching developing, and it is known as total communication. And total communication is really a combination of both oralism and manualism. As the signs are given to the students, the teacher also speaks the signs. So that's really cool. Kind of what I just did there when I was speaking to y'all, but I'm signing at the same time. So that's just a little example. Total communication, I believe, is the best option for these children because they're able to experience both sign language and oralism, and because of that, they're able to communicate in many different ways. They're able to see the different approaches that are available to them and then kind of decide which one they favor. And it also helps the transition from the deaf world into the hearing world for work or societal events or anything like that. The decision, as I stated before, is very hard for the parents to make. Tiffany Broda, she is a wonderful lady. She helped me learn sign language. She was a deaf educator. She has recently gone back into deaf education. She's also taught ASL at the university level. She said that early intervention is very crucial for the child and the parent, even if it's just listening to the parent, trying to figure out where they are, give advice, what benefits each one has, the disadvantages of each, because there are many for each of them. Factors that go into this decision are the level of hearing loss for the child, because if the child barely has any hearing loss, you're not going to want to completely learn ASL because he might not even need it. Hearing aids might be able to fix the problem. You never know, especially early on. But on the other hand, if the child is significantly deaf, he's probably not going to have a chance of cochlear implants or hearing aids. Cochlear implants is an electronic device implanted into the ear, and it basically corrects hearing issues. So the level of hearing loss is a huge factor in between which modality you choose for your student. The language of the parents is another big one. If the parents have never even heard of sign language, it's a very low possibility that they're going to want to go out and learn it. However, if the parents are both deaf and they have a deaf child, the child's probably going to know ASL. That's probably going to be his main language. And that's why that's why manualism is one of the most important modalities used, and that's because, as E.G. Smith says, ASL is the natural language for the deaf. It helps build that sense of community in the deaf culture. I've been a part of the deaf culture. I've experienced it, and I'm so happy that I have because it's life-changing. Even if you're not deaf, they welcome you. They are so loving towards you. They're excited that you're there and you're involved. But deaf people, even if you don't know each other personally, you each have a mutual friend. So there's an automatic connection as soon as you meet that person, and it's awesome. I absolutely love it. But some of the disadvantages to manualism is that the students are usually pretty late to learning how to read and to write, which puts them behind in school and later on affects their career path because they're not able to apply themselves and have the credentials that other people do have. Um, and that leads me into manualism, oralism, I'm sorry, which is the second most commonly used. Um, it discourages people from using ASL, and it encourages the measures of electronics such as hearing aids or cochlear implants, as I explained earlier. It's a very serious surgery with a lot of risk involved. So before parents make that decision to have those surgeries done, there is usually a lot of thought and emotions put into that. Um, it's extremely beneficial despite the risk because it helps them fit into that hearing world, as I said earlier with manualism. It helps them get plugged into the hearing world. It helps them get jobs. They're more normal in society. They're more accepted because they know English. They're able to communicate with the multitude of people. Um, However, neither of these options, manualism or oralism, give the effect and the options that total communication does. It can be confusing at first because you're combining the two languages, and that's crazy in itself, but it's the most flexible for classrooms. You're able to accommodate for every single student, whether they grew up in a deaf home and they know sign language, or if they're just deaf and their parents have no idea what's going on, they don't know sign language. Um, if they grow up around hearing people, then total communication will definitely benefit them because they're getting the sign language, they're learning sign, they're also getting the hearing that they're used to. They're used to reading lips. They're used to vocalization. So because of that, um, it's easier for them in the classroom rather than just having ASL. And the same thing's vice versa. If the child grew up in a deaf home, knowing sign language, using that constantly, it's going to be different for them to go into a traditional classroom where it's just hearing and then you have an interpreter. If you're in a total communication classroom, the teacher's signing, she's speaking, it's benefiting every single student. Um, it's great for a classroom because all students are different. There's none that's just alike. So total communication hits every single student. It's able to help every single student. Um, it helps them be comfortable in the classroom. They're able to talk. They're able to learn. It's great for everyone. It helps them with their English if they're mostly ASL users. Um, it helps them learn English better. They see the sentence structure from the ASL. They learn the grammar rules from ASL. They see dialects that they've never even known really existed in the spoken language. And the same thing is for hearing students. They see the sentence structure for ASL. They see the grammar. They see how it works. And that's, most kids are visual learners. If they see it, then it's more than likely going to help them. So that's why I think total communication is best for a classroom, because oralism and manualism, they divide the hearing and deaf communities, but total communication pulls them all together. It gives everyone the best of both worlds. It helps everyone learn together, and it's just amazing. I've experienced it, and it's amazing. So I just want to thank you all for listening, and I hope you learned something. Thank you.